Hey everyone, happy Libra season. The scales of the zodiac sign, the this and that is what I like to think of Libra. About balance and harmony. It's an air sign, so it's our mental thoughts. It's also about intellectualism. Um, and this week we're focusing on yin and yang, two things at once, right? That there is both a subtle um, and the brilliant, the dark and the light, that we are many things, but duality are two things at once, and that's the unifying quality of yoga. And so thinking about yin and yang, we use both sides of the brain, right? Two things happening. Our left side of the brain controls the right side of the body. The right brain controls the left side of the body. So how we're engaging with our physiological experience, our psychological experience, how they're intertwined. And I love that there is always a bit of yang in the yin, a little effort in the ease, and then the bit of that ease, the yin in the yang, the right in the effort. And in the sutra, we talk about Sthittam Sukhamasana, and that is that the pose is steady and comfortable. That is both of those things, but our balance, our harmonizing of it is determined by us and our experiences and our habits. And so we use yoga to kind of work our way there. Libra also rules the kidneys, which is kind of a watery experience. We want to flush the kidneys, sometimes utilize it. We get heavy in our kidneys, we kind of sink and dump. And so I want to talk to you about Paschimottanasana, the pose this week. It's two things happening at once. We're folding over ourselves and we are flushing our kidneys, working them. And you can kind of do this also in plow pose, which builds on a couple weeks before when we did Pindasana. So let's talk about Paschimottanasana. If you have a block, that's what I'm going to suggest. Okay. We want to create boundaries for ourselves. So in this pose, I like to bring my forearms underneath my knees so the legs don't fully extend. And then there's enough space here. You might place the block under your head. What I want you to notice is that the bend is actually the journey to extend. So I do have usually enough mobility to get legs straight, but to really leverage myself to find both two things at once, a forward fold and a back bend to help encourage the most in this shape. I'm going to activate those kidneys. Then I'm leveraging with my legs. I'm really reaching back with my sit bones. So a way to do this is one, sit up, stand on your butt. You can invite your toes back and then bend your knees. Now, if you don't want to, if you're like, oh, my forearms, that's still actually really far away for me to get my belly and my thighs to touch, and that's a point I want you to think about, then roll up a blanket and get that right underneath there. But for me, typically my forearms can rest and then I can bring my butt back. And so you can even reach your hand back, get a little handsy, pull the flesh up from underneath you. You can set yourself up on a blanket if that helps you as well. And then as you extend forward, think toes back, pointing, so it's point and then a flex back with the feet. Balance forward, heart forward, heart forward, heart forward, think back, then back, then back, then especially in that thoracic spine, and then maybe a chin tucks in as you go into the shape. So I'm both in a fold, but my chest is opening. My belly and thighs are touching and stretching the back of my body from my heels all the way up to the base of my skull. And I'm contracting my front body. So there's a big stretch and a deep contraction. And they're happening in that sense of yin and yang, right? There's a bit of ease. This pose can be real juicy, especially the more support we create for ourselves with yoga tools like blankets and props. And coming out of it, I encourage you to find your back bend. So look with your gaze, let it lift you up out of the shape so you can kind of settle back in. So that's my astrological cosmic tidbit for the Libra season kickoff. And we do Paschimottanasana a lot. So take this with you into all of your practices. Eventually, if you want to get to the straight legs, you might get there, you might not, that's totally okay. But the journey is the bent knees, right? Through bent knees, we eventually can potentially, if we want to, maybe with time, I don't know, get to straight legs. And then there's always somewhere else to go. Try back bending and having your face in your shins when your legs are straight. So we want to create a little leverage there. Two things at once, yin and yang, Libra, the scales, the, balancing. Encourage you to find that through this whole season. What is balance? What does harmony look like for you? That is all. See you soon.